Hello and welcome to the HandyCapable Black Woman Podcast. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handy capable, but most importantly, I am human. Well, I know you guys are maybe, possibly, getting tired of my hairy situation. And yes, like my last episode was actually my 75th episode. And I'm gonna start being more like myself. I know I am known to be very bubbly, giddy, excited, and my dry humor. Sometimes I get really nervous, especially if I'm going to be recording, about being my genuine self, about being able to open up on any stream basically, because my mental health has was really screwed up most of my life. For years, decades, I was put down because I smile too much. I'm too bubbly, I'm too cheery. Something must be wrong with me if I smile that much. No one's that happy. No one's that cheerful. Stop laughing. Stop smiling. Why are you smiling? So I started training myself and forcing myself to not smile as much, to not be as happy. But then other people started helping me with not being happy. Why do you walk like that? What's wrong with you? Did someone beat you up? Was it your husband, your boyfriend? Oh, I'm not going to date a cripple, a retard. And I hate saying that word, but I say it because if it hits you as hard as it hits me, then good. At least you know how emotionally. But if it doesn't, maybe that might show that you might be a little bit of a bully. And I'm not sorry to say that. Because a lot of people, for some reason, they enjoy the negativity and they enjoy picking at and making others feel like they're not as human because they're not like them. And sometimes I feel like, is that person just not happy with how they ended up? Or did they not go as far as they thought they should go? So now they feel like, in order to make myself feel like I'm on top, I need to make sure I push everyone down and beneath me just to make them feel like making them feel horrible adds a little self-esteem to me, a little prestige to me. And I've noticed that with a lot of rich people, a lot of millionaires and billionaires. It's like sometimes like they push down their employees or people who are making them rich, and they're forcing them down. And sometimes I wonder, okay, are you punishing them because, like, I mean, that's a different episode, but I know, especially now that I'm on 75, and yes, I'm still working on getting out there with the handy capable black woman. And I do hear, especially from, yeah, white cis men, who cares what you have to say? You have a disability, so you should just stay home. You're not going to be able to do that. Or you're a woman. You're supposed to just have babies. You're supposed to just have children. You're black. Act like it. You're black. Why are you trying to start a business? Why'd you get all that education? You wasted your time. You're just going to be a failure. See, my mental health has been punched on over and over again. And I still have only glazed over this one story, but it will be a story time pretty soon. Oh, but I remember this when I did promotional modeling for years. There was one event that I worked, and it was at a carnival, and I was working with this one young lady kind of for the first time, like hands on. It's like I've worked with her before, but we weren't in the same group or the same unit within the promotional group, so I didn't really talk to her. But I remember the boss gave us the same lunch break, and she asked if I wanted to hang out with her during the lunch break. And I'm like, cool. Okay, I get to meet someone new. I'm so excited. I get to talk to her and get to know her, especially as an African American woman, because with promotional modeling, oh, in my opinion, and I repeat, in my opinion, there's a lot of racism in it. Yeah, yeah, I've got stories you won't believe, especially when on more than two occasions I would get hired for a job, for a gig. And for some reason, like even if they had pictures of me, then they would ask for more pictures and everything. But then, specifically one time, I remember they were like, "Oh, I am so sorry, but the your application is so remarkable. You are so qualified for this, but the client's not looking for an African American." It's like, I'm sorry, like that's not gonna fit. Like, I'm so sorry. And I'm just like, and this is after I already did the training and everything. So I applied, they hired me. I did at least telephone trainings and conversations, like in group phone conversations about the event and everything. And it's like they need to get me my uniform, but they're like, oh, it's like the client says they need your picture, and next thing I know, they don't want an African American. But then it's funny. People, I keep hearing certain influencers say there's no such thing as racism, but then they don't talk to people of color to actually understand or listen to the stories of racism that we've been through, or even the stories, because yeah, it may be the past, but like my parents went through segregation and desegregation, and the fact that our schools don't teach about that, the fact that it's like sometimes when I talk about the anniversaries, like in my classroom, sometimes before class starts, I read like the history, like what happened today in history. And a couple years ago, it was like the anniversary of desegregation, like winning in court and everything. And my students were like, "What? No one alive is." No one alive went through that. Everyone passed away that went through desegregation. And I remember looking at them. I'm like, okay, boomer. I'm like, okay, you guys say boomer, but you don't even understand what the boomers went through. And when I told them my parents went through it, and then I remember I leaned up real close to them and I'm like, your grandparents went through it. And then I remind them the years. And some of my students got real quiet. Real quiet. And I just kind of smiled and then I started the class and everything. But part of me is just like, this is what's wrong with our school system. And it's like, um, that jerk in Florida, in my opinion, that jerk in Florida, DeSantis, he's trying to alter whitewash history and make it as though that African American history, authentic African American history, real African American history does not matter, or it should be altered to make sure that the white kids don't cry. But then, if you alter it, you don't give the realization of what the suffrage that African Americans actually had to go through. And I repeat some of the same parts of history to you guys because so many of you never learned about the drowned cities all around America. It's like a lot of you don't even know about that. And then the strange fruit song. It's like some of you don't even know what song I'm talking about, but look up the song Strange Fruit and then look up the history of how many were hung, how many were had to go through that. And also the photography, like how proud white Americans were to take a picture of the strange fruit on the tree. And then the history of Black Panthers, the history of Vietnam and the African American soldiers and them fighting for a country where they were segregated, where they were hated on, where they had to fight just to be able to vote, just to be able to drink at the same drinking fountain. But then I remember my father told me, like, not too far after he came back from fighting for this country, he got called the N-word. He got called it easily. And not being able to eat at a diner, not being able to walk around a country freely that you fought for. So it's just amazing. And yes, I'm running on tangents, but I'm going to be going over this type of information over the next few months. And especially when it comes to my mental health, I know people pick on, like, I mean, I know you guys don't know, but it's just like, yeah, I've never been married. Yes, I am single. And some people might be like, why should I listen to you? Why should I listen to someone who's never been married? You should listen to me because I was smart enough to get out of toxic relationships. I was smart enough to not let people judge me and box me in because I'm a female. I did not let them box me in because I'm a person of color. I did not allow them to box me in because I'm African American, Black, and that I have complex history and history that people are too scared to teach on. I don't let people box me in because of my disability. I don't let people box me in and tell me that I can't because I'm a human being. And I have fought so much. And like I said, I have fought decades of mental health, of people telling me, pick up your feet. You shouldn't be walking like that. It's your fault. You want to walk like that. You're choosing to walk like that. If you keep walking like that, no one's ever going to want you, love you, or marry you. How would you feel if that echoed in your brain? And coming home from job interviews, driving home, not wanting to drive home, sometimes thinking of any and everywhere else to go because you don't want to run into a certain somebody. Because when you walk in the house, did you get the job? I don't know. You don't know. You know, did you get the job? I don't know. I know why you didn't get the job. And then I see them mocking my walk. I speak and I tell my story because I know about mental health. I know how it feels when, with that young lady who I went to lunch with, it was a lunch break. We'll call her Latasha. Latasha. We were walking around and it's like you had the smell of cotton candy and elephant ears and the carnival sounds and people laughing and joy. Like you could smell the happiness and joy. It was wonderful and beautiful. And then you can even see some of the water on one side. And it was breathtaking. And I remember I had a later lunch, so it was like a beautiful purplish sky. And Latasha and I were talking, and we were just telling our stories. And I was like, yeah, I'm in grad school right now. And I was telling her some of my goals, and she was telling me hers. And it's like, she is an absolutely stunning, beautiful woman. And it's like she's a little older than me. So part of me was just like, oh my gosh, maybe she can be like a promotional mentor because she's been in the game longer. And I'm not looking for this to be my career, but since I want to get my master's in marketing, which I got my second master's in marketing. And I put an emphasis I put my emphasis on that because when it comes to mental health, you don't know how many people told me to quit and that I was not going to finish. How many men told me no man was a smart woman and a smart woman is a waste of time, and that it's like I'm just going to be a stupid woman with a fancy piece of paper and it's not going to do anything for me. So, like I said, mental health. But I remember we were walking around and talking, chit chatting, and I'm kind of excited because I'm like, I might have met a mentor. This is so cool. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. But then, but then, I remember, I remember this part, and I remember after this point, I had to kind of put a mask on for the rest of the day because we were walking and everything, and next thing I know, well, you're pretty for a fat girl. It's like, and you're pretty for a light skinned fat girl. What? What? It's like, you're not the shape of a Barbie like I am. You're not as beautiful as a Barbie like me. It's like, you're not gonna make it in this field if you stay looking like that. You're not gonna, no one's gonna ever really think you're that pretty or beautiful if you keep looking like that. And I just remember thinking, like, oh, okay. Um, and, but I had to cover it because I didn't want her seeing me get emotional. It's like she doesn't know my weight story. She doesn't know that, like, especially for years, it's like sometimes when people kept telling me that I can't, that I was going to fail, that I was worth nothing, that no one's going to marry me and everything, sometimes eating ended up being my medicine. Food, sweets, especially sweets, ended up being my medicine to make me feel better. Carbs. Ooh, carbs, pasta especially. Fettuccine Alfredo. Ooh, and I know it's not authentic Italian side, like, but oh, I do have some authentic Italian dishes. I've been doing my research, so it's like, oh, but anyway, yeah. Sorry, I'm a foodie, and the thing is, I've lost quite a lot. Yeah, since that one doctor told me go home, lose weight, and oh, and the thing is, yeah, it's like people keep telling me to lose weight, but the funny thing is, like, when I said how much I weighed, people didn't believe. Like, I mean, I'm a thick girl, I'm a thick woman, haha, and most of the pounds are in the. And that's the funny thing. I later found out that a lot of the guys were comparing her and I, and a lot of them, they were complimenting me because they were saying the weight is in the right spots and how I had the right curves and I had a extremely curvy, like, it's like they were like, I'm just like a space before the body yachty level. And yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm actually, it's like, you know what? It's like, since the last couple of years, I've been working on it a little bit because right before my knee surgery, I ended up losing weight. And because I started, especially mental health wise, part of me, I realized I have to work on me, I have to work on myself. It's like people keep trying to put me down, but then they tell me to be happy. And that's the funny thing. I remember she was just like, girl, was like, because my face did change a little bit when she did said the fat comment. And so that's why it's like I had to wear the mask because I remember when she saw my face and she got mad at me. She got mad at me, and I'm just like, you're the one saying this. And I don't know, it just, mental health is amazing, but mental health can also destroy you. And whenever people say sticks and stones may break my, but where's my, that's a lie. Why do you, why do you think that the country is having so many people eliminate themselves, voluntarily eliminate themselves? They're doing it because, like, sometimes it's because of the online situation where people are calling them and labeling them as, and then sometimes it's face to face family members, how their family members are putting them down, or so called friends or relationships, husbands, ex husbands, boyfriends, stalkers, whatever, you know. But it's amazing to me how people just, they don't understand the power of mental health. They don't understand the fragility, and they don't know how, even though you see someone smiling, how inside they might be drowning in suffrage, drowning in just negativity. And they might just need someone to check on them, call them, text them, hug them, something, offer to come over. And it's like watching movie, and or even, it's like, yeah, it's like I'm a foodie, so bake some cookies or something with. So I don't know, it's just, I remember when she did this. And the funny thing is, and she was married back then, but then years later, it's like, for some reason I accepted her friend's request on Facebook. I don't know why. I think because since she is like an older promotional model, and for some reason, I still want to look up to her, because like she was always busy, she was always getting booked, and part of me was just like, okay, maybe it is because I'm not I'm not as skinny as her, and because I don't look like a Barbie doll like she does. Even though she really didn't, but like, since she was skinnier like a Barbie doll. But that's besides the point. Years later, she got divorced, and she moved to another state with her husband. They got divorced, blah blah blah. But I remember she was going back to school, and she was having a hard time with a paper, and she was stressed on everything. And part of me was just like, you know what? Even though she was one of the harshest people, well, not one of the harshest, but even though she doesn't really care anything about anybody else's emotions, especially mine, that doesn't mean that I can't show her what a genuine, real friend is all about. So let me show her what a friend is all about. And so I recommended like Grammarly, and I listed like 2 or 3 other websites that would help her make sure that she listed her resources and references right, that she had the correct grammar, and a site that would help her look up resources on a topic if she needed. And yes, there's Google, but there's a couple others that's really, really good, especially if you need it to be accredited and everything. So it's like, part of me was just like, you know what? Maybe this will lower the stress levels. Oh, well, I think she saw it within the 24-48 hours, but her response amazed me. Next thing I know, she's writing me back. Where's your picture? What do you look like? What happened to you? I can't quote it, but I've got I can do the screenshots to prove it. But I just remember being shocked. Like, that's your response? It's like, now you just care about what I look like? I I thought I was being a friend. I thought I was I thought I was helping you and cheering you on, and trying to, like, one sister to another, like encouraging you to, like, just have like expand to different dreams and things. Sorry, I was trying to calculate the words correctly, because it's like I still can't believe like her response to me, because I realized during that span of time, with a lot of the people I worked with, a lot of them, yeah, they used me, and a lot of them only wanted from me, not vice versa. Like, there was no give and take. There was just how much can they take from me. And I was a giving person because part of me just felt like, since I'm at such a low part of my life, it's like, especially in the Bible, it says, like, be happy and give and spend time with loved ones and get to know people and like share and give unto others. And so when someone needed free babysitting, oh, I got you. I love kids. Or, oh, it's like, I don't know about A, B, and C. Oh yeah, let's look this up. I got you. It's like, oh, here you go. Let me email you some stuff. Or, oh, here's a list of some books that it's like I looked up at my library. So, or I mean, there's just so many different things. But I remember those were two crucial things because one of my so-called friends was trying to get their real estate license, and but they needed some material and stuff for something. They were going to take the test, but then they wanted to create like a presentation and do something for becoming the real estate agent and everything. So I forgot exactly what all, but it's like I had their back. I was helping them research and do everything. But yeah, it's like, especially once they found out that I finished my second master's, oh, now you're probably going to think you're too good for me. It's like, why am I going to waste my time with you? You're Miss MBA now. And it's just like, what? What? Okay, I'm sitting right in the room with you. I'm talking to you. I text you like at least once or twice a week to just say, "Hey, what up? What's going on?" But now you're accusing me of going to say I'm too good for you, even though I'm putting in all of the effort to hang out with you. What? Really? And if you remember the stories of Mr. No Heart and Mr. Lakaki, all of that mental health, all of that mental gaslighting and everything, I've been through a lot. I've been through a whole lot. But I've learned a lot too. So when people, or if people, I mean, some people have already told me, so I will say, so when people try to tell me, why should I listen to you? Because I'm going to tell you the truth. And I've been through so much. I've been judged so much. And soon I'm going to be doing episodes about apolitical men. And I've seen such a huge amount of white cis men who are apolitical. And there was one who just told me people into people who are into politics are divisive. And I would say, well, if you were a woman, if you were a person of color, and you had ancestors who had to fight for their right to vote, or fight for their availability or opportunity to be able to have their own bank account, or to be able to have equal and fair education, it's like, no. You say it's separation, but some people, it's like you were in a country that was built for you. You have nothing to fight for. You have everything already for you. It's like this country was fit for you. And this country's not a one size fits all, because my ancestors had to fight and fight, and it's like the country is still being hemmed for us. It's still being sewn to at least somewhat fit us. We can't even walk around with our hair the way it naturally grows out of our hair without getting judged or stereotyped. So when people try to tell, or when apolitical people try to tell me, I'm like, okay, don't go there, because if you don't understand people outside of yourself's story, don't say it's decisive. Don't say it's decisive. It's like this country was built to fit you. This country is built for you. And for you to take advantage and did not appreciate.